My name is Mercia. I'm originally from Brazil. And the last 6 years, my partner and I, we live in Barcelona, in Catalonia. And our journey starts with the pandemic. uh, During the pandemic, I was doing a master's degree here at the University of Barcelona when everything collapsed. We come from geography and education, and we felt like we needed to take action. And since our experience in outdoor learning, education, environmental education, we felt like, don't we find a way to start a nature school? And our journey has taught us a lot of things. And this is what I would like to share with you today. The lessons of these 5 years on the path of building a socio-ecological school here in Catalonia. So, learning as belonging, children, nature, and community. Um, so, this is half of me and my husband. We live on the north coast of Barcelona, and the place that we came across that was hosting us first was a family looking for a tutor for their kids during the pandemic. And I went there and I right away said, why not a school? So the neighbors start coming to us, and we started the school with 6 students. The pillars for us has always been connecting ecological thinking, practicing nonviolent communication, developing emotional intelligence, especially by metacognition, development of metacognition and so on. And right now, it's the pillar for us to talk how children understand themselves first and know that their awareness, their confidence comes from them nurturing themselves first. Then how they relate to others and how they become part of what is around them and the people that nurture
I
that
can, but
space.
I didn't want to come in while you were in a class. I'm also like kind of listening to a Zoom right now. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry
And
for
then, no problem. And then the belonging to nature, which we are all part, but we usually take nature as something for granted. It's something beautiful to be part of, but not being immersed in it. And how we should respect and learn from this exchange that we receive every day, but we're not many times conscious of. Um, this nature journey, the journey of belonging. So I'm from Brazil. My husband is from Switzerland. And we arrived in Catalonia thinking like, we know so much. We could just start a school. And then we teach kids, we transform their lives, and all our ideas magnified and stretched. And that's the beautiful dream. And I think we are fed to this type of dreams and imaginations. And I cannot put myself as white savior in this position, but it's a very much the I came to the conclusion that this behavior coming to a place and creating thing passes, it's walking over what is already there. It took me a time to work on myself and for us to understand these concepts, to learn that coming to Catalonia and understanding what is already here complements a lot of the journey that we are still walking, and not that we come to implement something like starting a McDonald's in the forest where everybody can have access and suddenly we're all eating hamburgers. So while we had a lot of ideas to implement a good education for forest education where we are, we decided to connect with the land first. And we found out that Dr. Mati Boada since 78, right after the dictatorship in Catalonia, had already started the first nature school in Europe. Information that we would never come across if we haven't digged a little bit, because nature schools in Catalonia and in Spain are not legal. They don't have laws to implement forestry schools. Dr. Matiboada took us under his wings and he started bringing us to understand the roots, the past, the needs of the place we are. So we are very close to him. He's very generous to us. And suddenly we realized that we were becoming part of this land when we start to accept and open our hearts to understand this land as being part of it and not a guest in it. So we started weaving. Education, when we talk about nature education for us, the experience was also much deeper than the experiences we had in public or private schools before. Because one thing is parents dropping their kids at the door and saying, like, take care of my kid, I'll come to pick it up at the end of the day. But once you have a community being part of an education, you realize that there is much more behind. And suddenly it becomes part of the story of that community. So building community for us took us a lot of learning steps. Because once we start not only speaking about education, we start talking about healing and trauma, ecological connection, identities, diversity, holistic living and learning, or migration, roles and expectations, especially in roles and expectations. We live in a society or in a social space that not only qualifies, but names us in the position and roles. So it's one thing being a director, but not being a boss, being somebody who you can walk side by side and understand that as human beings, we are part of the same journey. So dropping these expectations to build a community were very important for us. And in these 5 years, we saw it a little bit like this: arriving, connecting, understanding, like planting a seed, listening to what is already here, and then weaving it together. Immersing that, going deeper in the topics that needed to be addressed. And at this year, this 5th year, is when we see that we're flourishing. Not only because our kids are phenomenal students and we have great outcomes from what they've been learning, but I realized that having a mature community it's like a living community. You grow, everybody that is around grows together, and we're able to share more and build together much more. And that's the path we're taking now. This coming year for us is about developing as community more than just a school, and bringing our ideas to honor the place and the land we are. Everything around us teaches. From the knowledge of the elders, our inability of understanding certain concepts. This is a process of learning as well. And kids get that all from us and transform and take it as creators. So we live learning, and the place we are now is we want to honor the land that provides it. It's not about the passport we hold. It's about validating our human experience and growing in a space that you belong. Is an exercise of every day. That's us. Thank you so much for listening. We love dialogues. If you would like to enter in contact with us, this is our team. And teams are very hard to build, but amazing. I think a beautiful, fruitful team came out of our community, and here we are. Get in touch. Let's continue our conversation.